Hi, I am Mark Louie Lugue and I study and teach art history. In today's episode of Cultural Cache Online, I will be talking about a painting by artist Alfredo Liongoren from the Cultural Center of the Philippines 21st Century Art Museum collection entitled Pagdidili-dili. My first few encounters with the painting were during my visits at the main building of the Cultural Center. I distinctly remember this work by Liongoren placed in a silent and dim section of the fourth floor. The location lends the work with an enigmatic aura that invites reflection and contemplation, making its title, Pagdidili-dili, translated as musings in English, all the more apt. One's experience of silence afforded by the space somehow gets disrupted when one gets the chance to stop in front of the work and look at it more closely. Contained within each of the four frames that are arranged on a black surface are tempests of mostly muted colors, composed of overlapping layers and layers of paint strokes coming from different directions, and occasional drips on these sheets of paper. Several dark green smudges, identifiably pink streaks, and the exposed yellowing paper surface interrupt the consistency of the colors. The artist cast a layer of light gray on top of this chaos, with some parts concealing and others revealing what lies underneath. Pagdidili-dili was Liongoren's entry to the Mobile Art Association of the Philippines Art Contest held in February 1971. Coinciding with Manila City's 4th centenary, the contest prompted the participants to reflect on the long history of the city and render their interpretations in material form. Liongoren drew inspiration from the murky estuarial creeks or esteros of the city as allusions to the country's dark colonial past. The esteros of Manila are narrow bodies of water that link various areas of the city and neighboring ones. They used to facilitate mobility of people and the transport of goods across different points, including the busy Manila port. Hence, alongside roads, these were, in the 19th century, considered arteries of society, movers of economy, and as historian Michael Pante rightly said, a place of affluence. It makes sense why Manila, specifically the areas within Binondo, has been called the Venice of the Orient. Unfortunately, because of the inability of the government to accommodate the growing population of the city, caused by larger societal issues such as uneven development across the regions, informal communities that settled alongside the creeks grew larger as time passed by. With the waste they bring alongside those from factories and other sources, esteros gradually degraded. From being places of affluence, esteros morphed to be unpleasant epicenters of poverty, epidemics, pollution, and flooding. They became symptomatic of a city in decay and emblematic of the social inequalities that ravage the country, which linger until the present. The essence of the murky estuarial creeks that bear witness to the history of the unevenness of the city and the country was deftly visualized by Liongoren in his abstracted piece. Through the work's potential to reflect societal realities, the troubles, the tendency to conflate abstraction with what the art world calls art for art's sake. In a matter of minutes, the judges of the competition, esteemed personalities in the field of art such as Jose Joya, J. Elizalde Navarro, Efcio ni Jose and Jesus Peralta unanimously hailed Liongoren as the first place winner. With this win, he was conferred a Sining Kayo Manggi Gold Medal from the Manila City, a cash prize from Mobil Oil Philippines, and a central position in the debates that ensued after its controversial win. The result of the competition sparked a series of dissenting opinions, mostly published by writer art critic Alfredo Rosas in his column in the Manila Times. Those who opposed the win, on the one hand, specifically Rene Castillo, Silvi Pedroche, and Eric David, pointed out the work's supposed faults. The monotony of the colors in the work that doesn't quite reflect Philippine culture, the lack of discipline causing accidental muddy results, the inability of the work to induce goose pimples, among others. It was even called a poor man's Joya. Those who defended the piece, on the other hand, specifically Rod Paras Perez, Wilhelm de Oro, Jose Joya, and to some degree Alfredo Rosas himself, responded to the arguments against the jury's decision point by point. Validating Liongoren's technical skill, Joya called the artist's work a painter's painting, one whose appeal and intrinsic value is immediately recognized by painters. Because he is a practitioner himself, Joya's further explanation of the jury's decision leaned toward how Liongoren's Pagdidili-dili was able to exemplify certain potentials of abstraction in painting. For one, creating art, he said, is a process of distilling images from the environment, which later on are crystallized into visual sources that artists tap from, instead of visual images that are merely depicted. This highlights abstraction's ability to transcend the literal and the obvious. Joya found that Liongoren was able to draw from esteros instead of depicting them literally. Likewise, Joya claimed that abstraction is a form that eloquently captures religious and spiritual experiences, and that it is evident in the work. To better appreciate this point, one has to view Pagdidili-dili in the context of the artist's professional and spiritual life. At an early stage in his career as an artist, he was named Asian to Watch by the Asia magazine in 1966 for his student works where he experimented with unconventional materials such as sand, burlap, and rope. This sudden rise to fame and the pressure accompanying it drove him to retreat and distance himself from the art scene of Manila. In South Cotabato, he sought solace and grounding from a deeper relationship with Christ and with nature. And upon his return to Manila, painting became his channel to express his tumultuous inner world that he continuously attempted to navigate through by way of his abstractions such as Pagdidili-dili and the series of dark, gestural brooding paintings that succeeded it. Joya rightly pointed out that Liongoren's decision to take a pause in art making demonstrates how the artist was unfazed by the perceived need to produce continuously. He said, how many artists can closet themselves and forego creation for examination and the search of true meaning? The work, as it is fittingly titled Pagdidili-dili, is a welcome reminder of the need and the significance of taking a step back to think or slowing down to feel in the face of this fast-paced world that favors progression, even if it is at times unchecked and unexamined. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Cultural Cash Online.